It's that CSZ game. They said pull up, so I came. You better put some respect on their name. Yeah, 55, what's goody? Kill the vibe, how could he? Big Cardinal on the hoodie. Let me break it down for you fully. This ain't your average broadcast. This ain't just no podcast. The mother shows spread fake news. We just call them broadcast. West, Joey, Sam, Shawn, Dr. Ain't know that boy Higgy. He said he don't want no small fries. Tell them they better make them biggie. Yeah, you already know what we be on. We got the crown, we hold the throne. We throw the mails and you take them home. When they ring the bells, you know that it's home. The bar set, we setting the tone. If we set it, then set it in stone. Sit in the streets, set up your phone. You in the Cardinal sports zone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We want to welcome you to another live episode from the Fitness Market Studios North. This is the Leo Award-winning Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Wahman. As you can tell, the supporting cast looks a little bit different today, but it shouldn't because he's been on the show almost as many times as Dalton has, and he's a regular. Love you, Dalton. I'm just messing with you. But first and foremost, we have Shawn Barber.
How's it going?
How's it going? We got Joe Wahman.
What's going on, everybody?
It's a little brother. What's up with him? Oh, his microphone?
Like the phone piece is like about to fall
It's
Cover it up, Shawn.
Listen, it's live TV, folks. And then the one and only Preston Brown.
What's up? How you guys doing?
Man, we are doing good, and we're happy to have you on here and get your unique perspective on what's been going on. For some, unbelievably, for those of us that have been around the game of football, we know that things like this happen, and sometimes it just takes a little time for the oven to kick on. And Preston is the sideline reporter for the University of Louisville football team, which is an awesome thing. We're very proud of them. And we're gonna get this going today. The chat line is open. Let's see. I say that, and then I don't see any chat. There it is. Look, we do. Those of y'all that have watched the show, y'all know that we do this. We have technical difficulties every week, and we do improv. Again, the chat line's open. You want to sponsor the show, support it. Underneath me is how you can do that. The PayPal, the Venmo, the Cash App. Underneath Preston is how you can follow the site on any social media avenue. Just hit the subscribe button, the follow, the stalk, whatever it is. Just do that. Our YouTube page is blowing up, so go follow that if you already have it. And there we go. What's up, Q? Go Cards for sure. This is absolutely, let's jump right in. First off, I do want to say what's up to our guy Lance McGarvey. I know he has recovered, and I believe he's back in the booth now. So
Called the game last night.
Called the soccer? Okay. He didn't call the basketball exhibition games, I don't believe.
No.
But we got the first one coming up here on Wednesday against Bellarmine. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But James Madison, man, everybody was trying to gas me up and tell me, oh, you need to work. They lead Division I in this and that, and they lead Division I in this and that. And I'm like, have you checked out their schedule? They did give us a good. One thing I don't want to do is act like they didn't give us a good fight in the first half. Mm-hmm. They gave us a good fight in the first half. Partially, I believe, because we were underestimating them. And I know that sounds silly and again, that's my opinion, that 9 games in the season, you could still underestimate an opponent. But I think that all of us, when we saw James Madison on the schedule before the season started, we're like 56-0. So we knew we were going to win that game. But hats off to them. Whereas we battle planned perfectly against Wake Forest in the second half last week, they battle planned and scripted great against us in the first half. It's just a different thing.
Yeah,
literally gave us a fight in the fourth. Yeah, they literally gave us. God. Listen, and y'all may or may not like my opinion on what happened there in the fourth, because I saw everybody on Twitter go one way, but I had the luxury of seeing it at home on TV. So we'll get to that in a minute too. What's up, Uncle Larry? What's up, Dominique? What's up, Rito? But They were who I thought they were. I predicted we were going to beat them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. We beat them by 3 touchdowns. Shawn, you almost got the score right on the nose. Everybody else was trying to make it closer because that was the cool thing to do.
I had 42-6, I believe. So
Malik caused it, Brent says. Okay.
Half and half.
Again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's not jump ahead, but I appreciate you, Brent. Again, started off slow. Bless their hearts. We just out-talented them, and we wore them out. That's one thing I was telling Joey last night during the game is that it may be close in the first half, but what you see, the difference between an underdog team and a really just naturally better team is as the second half goes on and that underdog team starts to get tired, the better team can impose their will on that. So Preston, I'd like to get your opinion on the game last night because you've been a part of many, many football games, those where it should have been a big win and it wasn't, or it shouldn't have been as close and it was. What were your thoughts on the game last night?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think we finished the game. So like you said, they came out ready to play. They first series, Monty came off, and I was like, okay, they're here to play. They were taking one of our best guys out. It was good to see that even when we were getting turnover, we would stop them. We get the ball back to the Malik, and then we wouldn't score, but then defense was still that was muffed off of Smith, and then we got to stop with no points, and usually lead the points. But it was good to see the defense step up for sudden change, and it's really forcing the offense. Look at what we're doing. Nobody wants to be the bad unit on the team because that's what you're talking. It means you walk by offense is trash, defense is trash. That's what goes on the team. So it's good to see that they're finally becoming a team and bonding together.
Absolutely. And we're on here with Louisville legend. NFL legend to me anyway, Preston Brown. And let's talk about a couple of the things that stood out last night. First off, the muffed kick. It looked like to me that one of our players kind of nudged the James Madison guy into our other guy. Excuse me. Into Braden.
Brownlee pushed him in.
Brownlee pushed Braden into him. Pushed the guy into Braden. So that was quite unfortunate. But like you said, if that was any other team, we may have rolled over and just gave up points there. We were like, absolutely not. It's still mind-blowing to me that we forced 8 turnovers last week, and then against a top 10 team in Wake Forest, who probably won't even be ranked when the polls come out here in a few hours, thanks to us and a little bit to NC State. But and then we get James Madison, a school that when you boot up your PlayStations or Xboxes and you create that schedule, you take that game off there because it ain't going to help your schedule out. It's not even going to be a challenge. You're going to beat them 70-0, and then your strength of schedule sucks, and then you don't get picked for the national championship one game there. I can't wait for that game to come out on the next generation things though. But I don't think any of us thought we were going to beat them by 10 touchdowns, but I also don't think that anybody expected it to be close. And I, for one, through the Scott Satterfield era, am happy that we were able to see something that was supposed to happen that happened. Shawn, what were your thoughts on yesterday's game? And then after you give your thoughts, we'll talk about the big fight that happened in the fourth quarter.
My thoughts are that the offense came alive in the second half, and that was nice to see. And it wasn't just running the football. The passing game got going, which we're going to need going into these last 3 games. The defense, really they only had 2 drives, the very first drive and their last drive of the first half where they did anything. After that, we just dominated them for the entire game. They couldn't get anything going.
Well, they could get it going. They just couldn't get it finished. They had that missed field goal, and they had a couple times where they were just out of field goal range. I will say this. They did a phenomenal job of working the clock and working us down the field, but just when it came to it, they just couldn't cash that in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I said, the second half especially, though, they got, I think, 1 or 2 first downs the entire half. That's ridiculous. And on top of that, they had the muffed punt in that second half that they couldn't capitalize on.
Got it on the 30-yard line, and then it ended up us getting it back on the 35-yard line. So we actually gained 5 yards of field position on a muff punt.
Yeah, so it was just a great performance overall. Granted, the first half could have been better, but overall it was a great performance.
I do think we also benefited from the fact that our guy Sam Basin was covering the game for us there. And he said that during warm-ups, and Preston, you could probably validate this, but their starting quarterback was not very accurate. You could on long passes during the warm-ups, it looked like his shoulder was still affecting him a whole lot. And I don't think we got the best James Madison, but I'm glad we got what we got, and we were able to roll to our 4th victory in a row. I know when the schedule came out at the beginning of the year, a lot of people didn't look at the schedule and say, oh, actually, we talked last year. We were like, we should be able to get 9 wins off the schedule next year with everybody those teams are losing. And we got 5 games in the season. We're like, I don't know if we're going to get 9. 9 didn't look possible like it does at this moment right now.
We didn't know if we was going to get 6.
Right.
We didn't know how we was going to get up to 5 or 6.
Absolutely. What's up, Bill? What's up, Daniel? Jason says the fans he encountered were not very good fans. Couldn't believe all the crap they were talking and the things the fans around him was doing. Gotcha. And then, like, for me, really quick to wrap up the summary part of the game. What?
Nothing. I was reading stuff. I didn't see that part there.
Okay. And look, Twitter is I'm trying. I love all my tweets. I love y'all, but I've had to like scale back my Twitter usage, Shawn, because it doesn't matter. For 2 straight weeks, we have been the worst football team that's ever been fielded at the University of probably further back than that. Like I don't know what it is with this generation, and I respect y'all. I love y'all. Y'all support us. We appreciate that. What's good, Wes? But hanging off of every play completion. Yes, we're doing really good now. We've turned this around. Incomplete pass the next time. Oh, Malik's garbage. He's been here 20 years, and he ain't getting no better. Malik runs for 20 yards. Okay, he's getting his focus back. There's some hope. And, like, this is so many emotions, Shawn, to be going through. And through one series. This is one series. This is not like a whole season. That's why I've kind of been the let the cake bake guy, because I know, because we had a coaching change in high school, it took us a little while to get used to the new coach. Coach Satterfield still has players that were on the team when Bobby was the coach. Like, we've got to get out of this instant gratification mind frame that we are in a society, especially when it comes to sports, because we are not gonna build what y'all want us to build here at Louisville if we keep wanting to fire a guy every 2 seasons. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But Preston, on the sideline, did James Madison's quarterback, did he look like he was struggling a little bit?
Touchdown Toddy?
Yeah, when I saw him, he looked like he could as he wanted to, and then we tried to put some extra zip on it. It was kind of ground balling around, but it's just like he was still a little hurt, but they didn't want to put the other guy in there because he threw 4 interceptions. So it's like, what you get. So he tried his best. That's, I think, why they ran the ball so much that first half.
Gotcha. Let's see. Bill says the fans from James Madison that stopped by his tailgate were great people. Well, that's because y'all are great people, and y'all welcome everybody, and y'all throw one of the best tailgates, if not the best tailgate, going right now. Rito says Malik is feast or famine. It drives us crazy. He's been here for 6 years. Well, not according to the guy last night that tried to argue with me and tell me he'd only been here 4 years and that he never redshirted. Did you all know that Malik and Lamar have had the exact same amount of pass attempts in college? At the end of the game last night, Malik tied him in passing attempts.
Wow.
Despite Malik being here for 60-something games and Lamar being here for 30-something. And I tried to tell the guys, like, Malik's been here. He's played almost twice as many games as Lamar. No, he hadn't. Okay. It is what it is. You just cannot convince ignorance sometimes. River City Entertainment. Pressure either bust pipes or it makes a diamond, and Satterfield is turning into a diamond. Kudos to him. Yeah, look, I never had a problem, and y'all know this. I've never had a problem with Coach Sat. He's always been very cordial and kind to me when I've spoke with him. Again, I've tried to take into consideration, and look, this was at the beginning of this year. This man had coached 2 full seasons, and made it to a bowl both seasons. The third season was abbreviated by COVID. So, and I know that some people don't like to give that credit to people, but like, he was not able to go on, his recruiting guys weren't able to go on face-to-face visits. Like that's very important. I mean, Preston, when you were being recruited here, can you imagine if all you got to do is just look at somebody like this and get recruited that way? I mean, would that have sold you on Louisville?
I didn't want to go at all. I was committed to Cincinnati, and I was going there no matter what. Helicopter to watch me play a football game, so I was signed, still delivered. But I went down there met Coach Strong, met Coach Hurt, and I just fell in love with the guys because I just knew they came from the SEC, and we were going to run SEC plays, and that's what we did. We had a quarterback pro-style offense. We had a 4-3 defense running SEC type plays, and now we got under center. They run some belt plays, and it took a little time for us to get used to it. But now that we have doing some belt plays, you're starting to see that they can do it well.
I don't think I ever thought of. Well, yeah, I did think about it that way. But yeah, it's just when you get a new coach, the philosophy sometimes will change. And we knew by seeing him coach at App State what his philosophy was. He was a run heavy, probably 75% run, 25% pass. And we still had wide receivers that stuck with us. We didn't get a whole bunch of quarterbacks. I mean, Malik's the only quarterback really that we've had. Well, I mean, we've got Brock, we've got Khalid, but they don't really get too much of a chance to shine. But we're not getting these big name quarterbacks because his offense is not really, to me anyway, is not quarterback centric. It's run, pass, run, punt, or run, field goal, or run, get into the red zone and just run some more. It's just frustrating. And it's like, but that's his philosophy. We knew that when we got him, this was the kind of coach he was going to be. It wasn't going to be Bobby Petrino putting up 70 points per game, and it wasn't going to be Coach Strong holding everybody to 10 points or less. And my favorite stat, y'all know I'm a little biased because I really loved my coach here, even though he got booted out really, really quickly. But other than let's take him out of the equation. For me, Coach Strong was my favorite coach that we had here. You could tell that everybody had respect for him. And unfortunately, with Coach P, you could tell that not a lot of the players that I talked to anyway, or just the way the team came across, that they had a lot of respect for him. So jury's still out. I've talked to several people on this team. They've never had a bad thing to say about Sat. So I guess you can be a good guy and a good football coach, but I've never really throughout my career met a good guy that was a good football coach that got good results. You always needed a little bit of a butthole, so to speak, to somebody to be hard on you and just motivate you. No, Jeremy, you did a really good job with that block. Hey, dumb end, get in there and block hard, whatever. It's like you need that motivation. So I hope that he's able to do what we want him to do. I still feel like he's going to leave us because of the way that the fan base has treated him on social media. I predicted that at the end of the year last year. I said, here's what's going to happen. Y'all want to crap all over him, for lack of better words, and he's going to win 9 games next year, and he's going to leave to be the next coach at Wake Forest or NC State or somewhere
North Carolina.
In North Carolina. Well, yeah, I said North Carolina, but they're playing.
They're
pretty
not.
well.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a viable option.
Mac Brown.
I mean, Mac Brown is like 157 years old, so he may not be there at the end of the season. But in great point, River City, pressure either makes bust pipes or makes diamonds. pressure is a privilege. I say that on Twitter all the time because if you're not put in a situation to succeed, then what are you doing? Like you're just Shawn. I'm just kidding, buddy.
There's a lot of pressure built up there.
Will you stop? Uncle Larry says our defense did a blue collar job last night again. Clemson quarterbacks beware.
You know what? So we were talking last night during the game, and I've had a little time to reflect on like how I critiqued the defense last night.
Okay.
Because I thought, from the Wake Forest game, the amount of pressure and the amount of times they got in the backfield, to how it looked last night, just watching the game in real time, I was like, man, we kind of took a step back, this, that, and other. But the more they didn't run but about 15 pass plays the whole game.
Yeah,
maybe.
I only know.
So our guys really didn't have the opportunity to get that pressure, right? So after kind of like having some time to marinate on it and look at it, like you guys said, like on the rush defense, we still did an amazing job, holding, because like somebody said on here, their running back probably will play on Sunday somewhere. I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce his name.
His last name was Obase.
Yeah, something.
It was Obase. It was
really good running back. And then, everybody kept talking about how they were ranked number 1 statistically in the nation and in rush defense. And at one point I told Jeremy, instead of Tyon Evans, he was out, and we had who was it?
Jordan.
I heard somebody, maybe I seen it on Twitter, like, well, why isn't Evans in? Well, we're gonna wear their defensive line down.
You did say that.
We're gonna wear their defensive line down. They're gonna get tired, and we end up with 2 running backs with a 100-yard game, and that their 56 yards a game average just got blowed up.
Kelly Dickey said that was the first time since 2008, I believe, or 2006 that we had 200-yard rushers and a 100-yard receiver, which is kind of hard to believe with Lamar. You would have thought that we'd have had a couple of double, because he was throwing for like 300 and running for 200 every game.
I think it's part of the
reason.
But
he was running for 200.
That's true. That's very, very true. Very, very true. Well, Joey, I didn't know this. Fred said, "Hey guys, was at the game last night.
That's what I
saw Joey on the big screen. It did look like Malik was playing really conservative. Great win. Unless there's a camera in my living room, you in fact did not see Joey on the big screen."
My doppelganger.
Henry says, starting to hear an extension for Coach Sad. Is it too early to talk about that? I think so.
If he's talking about Steve was jokingly put out a tweet last night.
Well, I don't know if he was joking. You got to go with the flow. In media here in the city, you got to go with the flow, and sometimes you got to change direction on a dime, sort of like, who was it last night? Was that Jalen Mitchell that kind of cut on a dime, or was that Tyon?
No, that was Jawar.
Jordan. Okay,
Jawar.
Well,
we beat Clemson next week. Let's start talking about an extension.
I agree with that. Somebody asked me that this morning too. They were like, Jeremy, we've got it. His job's safe now, right? And I've been very open with you all. I know a couple people that make the decisions up there, and they told me when we were sitting there at 3-4, was it 3-4 or 2-4? We were sitting there at 2. No, we got 3 losses, right?
Yeah, we got 3 losses.
We were sitting there at 2-3, and I was like, guys, what do we do? And they're like, well, he's got to get to 7 regular season wins. And that looks almost impossible because at that point, everybody left on our schedule except for Virginia.
We needed 5 more wins.
Right. Was ranked at one point. Pittsburgh was ranked. Wake was ranked. James Madison was ranked. NC State will be ranked. Clemson will be ranked.
On our schedule has or is been ranked at some point in the season.
South Florida, Virginia, and Boston College are the only 3. And that's what I was getting to earlier before I got off track. This is probably the hardest schedule we've ever played. And there's not really that one, marquee. Clemson, yeah, but we played them every year. Apparently, we're not going to play them every year going forward with the elimination of the divisions, which I don't like. But it is what it is. But yeah, it's probably one of the hardest schedules that we played. River City said, so yes, as Joey said, look, we could lose these last 3 games.
Good. Still going bowling though.
And then 6 but that's not 7 regular season wins. And unfortunately, all the ranked teams that we had beat are no longer ranked anymore.
Well, Central Florida's moving up.
Yeah,
that's true. They are.
State's moving up. We got
Florida State's moving up. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff there.
Syracuse,
yeah, they kind of let us down a little bit. River City says JMU was well coached with great lines in the running back that will play on Sundays. The adjustments made by the Louisville staff deserve accommodation. We'll talk about that in a second. Lee says Orlando and the Nets go Cards. Yes, we've done nothing to make him to want to stay. Rito says, do we think Clemson will be hungry against us coming off a loss? Rito, as soon as I saw they were losing last night, I looked at Joey and said, yeah, of course. It's going to be a very angry Clemson team that comes into
I did see a funny tweet that said
Death Valley to play us on Saturday.
That is funny that Clemson was looking past Notre Dame to Louisville.
Yes, absolutely. Cardinal, what's up? We appreciate you. Yes, we are YouTube official, my man. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's address. We went a little bit longer than I thought we were going to on that, and I do want to get Preston out of here very, very shortly. But because I know he's a busy man. He's Preston. He is Preston Brown, man. I mean, guys. A lot of the issues on Twitter last night, and remind me to talk. I do want to talk about the fight, but first I want to talk about the stuff that actually matters. People were blaming Malik for the running around in circles stuff last night. So I want to get y'all's opinion. And Joey, I'll go with you first. Was Malik the issue last night? Was the line the issue, or was it a little bit of both?
Just from last night's game.
Last night,
I'll say it's 9 out of 10 times offensive line. Like he didn't have anywhere to. He didn't have a lane to escape the pocket. Like where else was he going to go? You know, and now it wasn't the running backs picking up blocks. They were doing that.
Yeah.
It was the offensive line. Like they just didn't have a good game last night. It is what it is. It happens. I mean, overall, I think he had 15 rushes for 0 yards. I think that was the stat. Yeah, 15 rushes for 0 yards. I mean, he had nowhere to go because we all know that if Malik has a lane, he can get something. He just had nowhere to go. And, you know, I still think that when he had the opportunity to throw the ball away, or throw it. He made one pass that actually got caught, and it may have been Braden Smith on the sideline that he had to throw off his back foot. He threw it at like where only Braden Smith could catch it, or it was going out of bounds. Right?
Absolutely.
He got the ball away. I still think he played fairly well last night. I think Malik did. I mean, but I believe it was 15 rushes for 0 yards.
Yeah, it was.
So he didn't have a lot of lanes to escape the pocket. He was like. Everywhere he looked, it was closed, and he did the right thing on a lot of them. He just got down on the ground.
Absolutely, and that's part of the decision. And plus, all the people that complained about him throwing interceptions and stuff instead of throwing the ball out of bounds, he has done better at that. Should he? And I'm not going to sit here and play, oh, everything's okay. But he, and of course, when I say this, somebody's going to be like, well, he should. He's been there 14 years. But he is getting a little bit better. I feel like last year he would have thrown forced interceptions, or
earlier in the season,
or taken longer sacks trying to run around in a circle. You're right. He got down really, really quickly, but he could do nothing right as far as Twitter was concerned last night, except for the huge first Louisville touchdown 9 games in for Tyler Hudson. 142 yards receiving.
It's kind of amazing because he never targets that guy. He never throws to Hudson, so it's kind of amazing.
6 catches, 142 yards receiving.
Yeah.
It's just
for those negative Nancy's. Guess what? You only got 4 at the most 4 more games to worry about it. So then you can start complaining about somebody else.
Absolutely, Preston. What about you?
Yeah, I think the line was a little off, but I also saw some plays where Malik's back foot kind of retreating in the pocket. Sometimes you just got to stand there, take the hit, and just open. And he was throwing the ball, and they were just floating out there, overthrowing, underthrowing. Sometimes you just want to see him sit there, take the hit, make the NFL throw, and show all the scouts. Because on the next level, there's always going to be people around your feet, people around you. You got to step up and make this. I don't know where to go. Then you hold the ball, and then everybody looks bad because you're just messing up. It was a little weird for me, but he did make a great outbreaking route to Higgins in the corner for that. So I on some outbreaking routes all he really throws is the stop routes to the sticks, to T-hugging, digs, and slants. That's all he really throws. And it was good to finally see him hit another. So I was excited to see his progress and how he was still maintaining the game after starting a little.
He can't take those hits, though. That's the problem, I think, is that he takes those hits. I think
he may have taken those hits, or I think he may have just gotten down as a precaution, because he is still, some people forget, he's still 2 weeks shy from just having a concussion.
Well, he's brittle anyway.
He gets hurt every game.
Yeah,
or
he's brittle anyway.
Looks like he gets hurt. But here's what I'll say to Preston's point. I can't remember a game this season where we got on here and recapped it, where we were like, oh, there was this throw that Malik made that was good. This throw. Malik made, as Joey said, that beautiful pass to Braden Smith. As Preston said, the one to Mari Huggins, Bruce over here. The one to Tyler Hudson. That was an NFL throw. That was a now, do I think he'll play quarterback in the NFL? No. If he makes it, it'll be like a lot of people do. They start off on special teams, and then because I don't see him.
Malik will be a running back, if anything, in the league. He'll have to gain some weight, and
that's like, he's just so in between a lot of things. But as you can remember, when we were growing up, Joey, up in Buffalo, there was this guy named Steve Tasker, and he couldn't hardly do anything else, but he made plays on special teams, and then he worked his way up to the wide receiver spot. And I think that's the same thing that for the Patriots. Wes Welker for the Dolphins did the same thing. Danny Amendola for the Patriots did the same thing. So there is a way for Malik. I'm not by any means saying I think he'll play on Sundays.
Good thing is he's got about 4 inches taller than all those guys you said. So like
Absolutely.
If he gets they get him in the weight room, put some more weight on him. I mean, he could be a running back. I mean, he's probably not going to be a starter or anything like that, or on special teams, a return guy, because of his ability to make plays in the in the open field. He could be a very good return guy.
And yes, and the thing is, you just got to get Malik motivated, because and money is a motivator. So I mean that may motivate him. From what I've heard behind the scenes, he's just pretty much even kill and not a lot of sense of urgency when it comes to the offense or learning the offense and stuff. So I like Malik. I've liked him since I met him for the first time. Let's see, this is 22. So he got here in the fall of 2017. I met him that summer at Lavelle. Lavelle had a prospect camp here in Louisville. Malik won the MVP for the prospect camp, and then he got a meeting with Petrino, showed him Malik's stuff, and the rest is history. Let's see. Malik had no time on a lot of plays. Yeah, Larry, we do have a preference for the bowl game location. Somewhere hot, somewhere where it's not freezing cold. JMU's defense staying in the lanes. Chris says his only complaint is when we get close to the goal line, he never hands the ball off. It's like he thinks he has to do it himself.
The coaches do that, I believe. That's the play calling a lot of it.
No, he actually last night in the press conference, he took responsibility for it.
Who, Malik did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said
I just thought he was record chasing. I thought he was trying to beat Lamar's record, and that's why he just runs down.
Because
that could be that. Why he didn't necessarily say that.
Because several times last night we got down there, I'm like, all right, well, we know what this play is.
Yeah.
And it was. Rito says, does Preston's mic keep cutting out, or is it just him? I haven't had any problems with his mic cutting out on my end. Agree with Chris. What did Chris say?
That's what he was talking about. His only complaint.
Okay. Daryl says, Malik is a warrior. I cannot dispute that, but I'm curious to see what our offense looks like with a quarterback who is better at throwing timing routes and hitting hot routes on blitzes. Any basketball recruiting news? Yeah, Ernie, we'll talk about that in a second. Here's the thing. We've known for a long time now that Malik is a 1 or 2 read quarterback. And that's, for those of y'all that act like, man, he should be surveying the whole field.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Like, y'all expecting a different result every time is clearly and literally insanity.
He doesn't do that once he gets pressure. I noticed that. If he gets any kind of pressure early in the game, he goes 1 read or 2 reads.
Even when if he doesn't have pressure.
Yeah.
No, because there was the UCF game. He actually made reads a few times. He read the whole field.
Yeah,
we're talking about how many attempts in the season.
But overall,
he's made 10. And it is what it is. Like Jeremy said, we know who he is. We know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, as long as he can do that better than the defense can adapt to it, then we're good.
Yeah.
So we talked about James Madison, how they were who we thought they were. Are the Cards who we thought they were? People wanted to give up on them. They said they weren't consistent. Shawn, do you think that the last 4 weeks proves to you that they've turned things around, or are you still just assuming that inconsistency lies ahead?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked you that and not myself.
I would say the next game's going to tell us. Even if they lose, if they show up and they play the way they played all 4 games, even a loss, I feel a lot better knowing the last 2 games, right? But if they come out and Clemson gets a lead and then they kind of fold, then I'm going to be like, well, I don't know what to expect the next 2 games. I don't know. So it's all a matter to me. It's a Clemson game. That's the game. I have to see that game before I can say, well, this is what we're going to get the rest of the year or not.
Every time I see this user on YouTube, I cringe a little bit and then I laugh. Average Honky says that route to the corner in the end zone during the 4th down play was the best I've ever seen Malik, or best play for Malik I've seen in a while. Best throw I've seen in a while. I don't disagree with that, even though your username makes me cringe. Uncle Larry says, any word on Tyon Evans' injury? I haven't heard anything. I didn't know. Preston, do you have an update on that?
Sure. He looked fine to me. They just didn't put him back in, but he looked like he was fine. I don't think he was hurt. But
They didn't need to put him back in.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. Not saying. Now look, this is early Sunday morning, so something may have been put out I hadn't read yet. I literally got up, set the studio up, hit up Preston, was like, "Can you come in? Can you be on the show today?" He was like, "Duh, of course." And we got this all put together the last second. So I don't know if any of y'all have heard about it. Let Uncle Larry know here in the chat line.
I slightly disagree with Shawn though on the question you asked.
Okay, I'm going to ask you in a second. I'm going to go through the rest of the chat line real quick. So no, Uncle Larry, no word on Evans' injury. Rito says Malik is what he is, but the last series before halftime killed him. Well, yeah, 3 straight red zone runs, but that's something we have seen since Sat's been here. Do y'all not remember when was it here or at Clemson where we got down to the red zone
here
multiple times and all we did was run, and we went for it. What kills Joey is the us going for it on 4th down. He don't, and a lot of times I didn't agree with it last week when we did it at the beginning of the 3rd quarter after we had got that first turnover, and then we're like feeling ourselves really well, and we go for it, but which went on to bode very well for us.
I don't like going for it on 4th down on certain parts of the field.
Right.
I think you play field position football at that point, especially when our defense has played the way they have the last several. But then again, you can flip that coin on the other side and say, well, the way our defense has been playing the last couple of weeks, if we don't get it, then you feel good about your defense stopping them, getting the ball back. But I guess in that respect, I'm a slightly more old school thinking than the other way. I mean, I get it if you're at the 35, 40-yard line, you don't really want to punt, but your field goal kicker ain't got enough leg to get the field goal in. You might as well just go for it.
Yeah, and
I get that.
And the way this defense has been playing, I guess that could be like, look, we trust our defense. That could be morale boost for the defense. Like, hey, they trust us to stop these guys, whether they get it or not. Let's get it. Babu says there was Sat hate, now there's Sat love. What do you guys think if they are 0 for 4 for the rest of the season?
He didn't hear the first part of the show.
Well, and that's fine.
No, I'm just saying he did, because like what you said, what you've been told is
right.
7.
Seven
would
regular
equal 7
wins. My only issue with that, though, is I don't think in a million years these people thought we were going to beat Wake Forest for one of those 6 wins.
Nope.
And I haven't been able to talk to them to quantify, hey, does that Wake Forest, if those 6 wins included Wake Forest or Clemson? I should have asked. I didn't. We don't. I make mistakes sometimes.
Wake Forest is now trending the wrong way.
Well, they're out of the top 25 now because we beat them so badly, which they shouldn't be out of the top 25.
We broke Sam Hart.
He
had 3 more interceptions yesterday.
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
He only had 3 going into our game. Threw 4 in our game and then 3 yesterday.
Yasir and Keetrell Clark broke his spirit.
Well,
and
Quincy Riley.
Yeah, they broke him.
Bless his heart. All right, now the question I'd ask Shawn.
Well, so it kind of goes with that what the Babu said. So first part of the season, break it up in three parts, right? First part of the season, inconsistent. Middle part now, we're playing consistent. If we weren't 0-4, you got to call that a loss for the season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. You can't just play good for 4 or 5 games in a row and say, "Oh, well, we made progress." No, we didn't. If we go 0-4 the last 4 games, the last 3 regular season and a bowl game, I mean, that's not consistent. But we talked about prior to what was the first win in this 4-game stretch?
Virginia.
We talked about that, right? All right, Virginia, we win. Defense looked better. Consistency is what we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, maybe 2 games isn't consistent enough. But after they did what they did to Wake Forest, and after they did what they did yesterday, there's nothing that tells me that this defense is going to regress. They're going to continue to build, and I feel like they have all year because their first 4 or 5 games.
The only game we looked bad defensively was Syracuse.
Boston College.
I mean, yeah. But even at Boston College, we only looked bad the second half. I mean, from start to finish.
We didn't. I mean, the fact that we knew who was his name, Sarwo.
Oh, the running back.
The running back, and then Trey Flowers.
Yeah.
We knew that those were the 2 guys because their quarterback is doo-doo. But the fact that we knew that the only guy he was going to throw to was that guy, and we still couldn't stop him, like that was that we played bad that game. But yeah, I mean, there's again no moral victory. We come out next week and we play decent. I expect us to beat Clemson next week. I expect us to beat Clemson next week. Here's the thing, Sam Hartman, we broke him, right?
Unbelievable.
Do we think he's a better quarterback than
No.
lately? I do. I think coming into the season, there was anybody that was in the ACC would have said, that Sam Hartman was probably the best quarterback in the league.
That way.
Right.
I feel like Clemson's got a better offensive line than Wake, though. That's the difference for me. And that DJU is serviceable, more serviceable behind a better line.
So Clemson has a better offensive line than Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel better about our defensive line and our front 7 than I do about Clemson having probably. If they're going to be better, they're just slightly better. They didn't look very good last night, evidently. I mean, they barely scored anything against Notre Dame. And look, Notre Dame's Notre Dame, but they ain't Notre Dame good this year. So I feel good about it. I feel really good, and I'm not looking for a moral victory. Oh well, we lost again, 31-30. No, I'm not looking for that. I think that with Tyon Evans, Jawar Jordan, if the offensive line can give him a little time to, not have that's what concerns me. That's what concerns me is if the offensive line can't give him enough time to make a play, then yeah, it could be a long day because Clemson is definitely not James Madison.
Facts.
But I expect to win next week.
Okay.
Also, refs don't screw us.
Let's not be one of those guys. You're not that guy, pal.
No, but
you're not
Clemson,
that guy.
we get screwed every single season.
We just got to make enough plays that it overtakes whatever the refs can do to us.
Lee wants to know what happened to Travion Cooley. I don't know. That I just got that press release that I put out. Said he was out for personal reasons. Hopefully everything's okay. He was on the sidelines. Q says, happy belated birthday to Preston.
Happy birthday, bro.
West End Wayne says, good morning, fellas. If Sat wins 2 of the next 3, he will get some calls and may be gone. The way this fan base has called for his head, and rightfully so, I think he will bolt. I've been saying that for a year now.
Yep.
You got to be patient. Tony says, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You don't think that's the right coach for Louisville, but proud of the team and the turnover. And see, that's what you can do, Tony, because there's been a lot of people out there that's like, he's trash, so the team's trash, and we're not supporting him. You can't take that out. Look, as somebody who was one of those kids, Preston was one of those kids. Joey was one of those kids, albeit on a high school level. To have the support, you probably should have been a pro if you'd have stopped partying in high school. But we won't tell nobody that.
Sean, I liked girls.
Yeah. Do you know that? How many games was it, Joey? Your freshman year, 6 games,
5 or 6 games. Had like 13 sacks.
13 sacks and 6
55
games.
solo tackles.
But then he decided he liked females and he stopped playing football. Me, I just want to play football. But anyway, I digress.
I wanted to pound the pigskin.
Bill says, love the show, guys. Have a good day. Got to go be a cheer dad now.
Hey, good luck, Stella.
Yeah, good
Uncle
luck to
Jeremy
Stella.
and Uncle Joey say good luck.
For sure. Rito says the refs are going to be in Clemson's back pocket next game. I don't disagree because it does feel like when we go play a team that's had some adversity the week before, they do everything, even if we're like climbing uphill, they do everything they can to make that mountain a mudslide and make it more difficult on us. And I'm not a blaming the referees type guy either.
No, I mean, with the Clemson loss yesterday, they're going to rank us this week. They're going to have to, so they can get Clemson a ranked game and try to hold them close to that top 7 of that college football playoff to keep the. So, I mean, I do agree with that, but we just got to go out and make plays. If we go out and make plays against Clemson like we did against Wake Forest, there's nothing that the refs, Clemson's offensive line, defensive line, anybody's going to be able to do about it.
Babu says we will need to run the ball like Notre Dame did last night, over 225 yards to beat Clemson.
We did that last night. We've got the guys to do that.
Absolutely.
That's what we're going to have to do. We got to get out of this mindset. Like you said earlier, we knew what Sat was coming in. He's a run-the-ball coach. We've got the guys to run the ball. Run the ball. Sometimes you're only going to get 1 or 2 yards, but you know what that does? That wears a defensive line down. That wears them down. So while I say the offensive line had a bad game last night, they had a bad game on pass block.
Yes.
Run block, they did amazing.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to ask, I've kept Preston way longer than I told him I was going to keep him. I do apologize for that. Sometimes when you get to talking and stuff with your people, time runs away from you. Last question I want to ask you, and then we'll get you out of here, and then I'll ask Joey and Shawn. Brian Brown, in your opinion, has he redeemed himself, or has this turnaround defensive? And I don't want to get you in trouble, so if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But has this turnaround for you been more of a coaching turnaround, or the players being like,
kind of,
we're going to do this to spite the coaching that we're getting?
Credit to Coach Brown. I think he's done a great job reassembling, moving different guys out, Griffin back there really being a post safety, because Duncan was more of a, I'm coming down here, and he was getting beat on every play action that I watched. I only get the YouTube copies. I can't see everything, but on big plays, especially he's running up like it's a run, and they're going right. That change really helped solidify the big plays that we're not seeing as much. And he blitz calls, and I did watch the weight game. There were a lot of guys running free with nobody open with the blitz, so it didn't really matter. But that's one thing I worry about, is if they do start to pick up, to relate more to the receivers, because there were guys running wide open against that slow motion fake that they were doing all day. But if Clemson can pick up those, then you'll have to see if those guys can make pass breakups and just make plays on the balls. But they're going to have to relate with blitz. I haven't rewatched the last game, but I have to see if they got better at that.
Yeah, I've rewatched the Wake Forest third quarter about 16 times, because I'm a big, even though offense was my jam, defense is I love a great well, I mean, I didn't play defense. I played offense, but I loved watching. I mean, they said that was the most dominant defensive quarter in Louisville football history. And I know it was the most points and the most turnovers forced. I don't want to be put on the spot and be like, well, which game was better? Preston had a couple of games that just like they smothered people out there, and that's that.
I was told, I didn't know any plays. I was told by the coach, go after the quarterback.
That's all they do.
Every time.
Joey, go get the quarterback.
Defensive end. When the ball snapped, go after the quarterback. If he doesn't have the ball, don't hit him. But if he has it,
you were
smear him.
You were 8 inches taller than everybody else on the field.
Doesn't matter.
So it wasn't very difficult for you to get to the quarterback. Preston, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Preston.
We appreciate you. Are we going to beat Clemson next week?
I hope so. I haven't watched, much Clemson yet. I got to break them down exactly what I feel we need to do or what. But I hope so. I love the momentum. I love offense, special teams. The punter's still amazing. So I'm excited to see how we can do.
All-American punter.
All right. This is the incomparable, and I guess we go ahead and just call him a member of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. Honorary.
He's an honorary oos.
He's an honorary oos with the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. It's Preston Brown. Thank you, Preston.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a mixture of coaching and players, by the way.
Right. Well, all I can see is y'all. I can see Joey's Preston hopping out just messed y'all's view up. Shawn, unfortunately, it's still your face. Shawn, can you get on the phone with Sam and find out what 10 minutes away he was from us? He said he was 10 minutes away from us.
Who tried to buzz in?
Sam.
Oh, well, that's probably why.
But I can't do anything while I'm.
I know. I'm saying that's probably why he probably just turned around and went home.
No, he was it looked like he was in the basement somewhere.
Oh.
Can you somebody text him? Or I know Shawn can't because he's on the line. Tom said he's fine with running the ball. Rito said, what game out of the last 3 would you guys most want to win? We will talk about that. That's a great question. We'll talk about that before we get off the line. Cody says, if Seth thinks the fans are rough here, he's going to be real shocked if he goes to SEC school. Roderick says, exactly, Joey, run the ball. That's our strength. Speaking of rest, we're going to get bad calls in Lexington. Absolutely, Wayne. Tony says, definitely players more than the coaching. Michelle says, sorry I'm late. Just got home from church. What did I miss? You missed a great show. Preston Brown was guest hosting with us.
Let's go back and watch it.
Yeah, just go back and watch it. Actually, just turn it on. Uncle Larry, stop. What drive-through is Higgy? Actually, okay. So we'll go to Higgy next, and then we'll go to Rito's question. You missed a great show, Michelle. Go ahead. We had Preston Brown in here, and we did have. I don't know why, but we always have one person per show. When they call in, it gets a little staticky. I could hear it just fine, but when I was listening to Shawn's because he's having some relay, and it might even be why, some relay issues, and I could hear every word Preston was saying out of Shawn's phone.
I could hear from your end, I could hear every word Preston was saying, but through my ears, it was breaking up.
Okay.
And it would like glitch and it would go ahead like it was freezing up on him.
Gotcha. Roderick said, I think the defense played more man instead of zone coverage, which they played more of than in the first 4 games. I'll go back and watch. I know you. I'll just messing with you, Michelle. All we did was recap last night's huge victory over James Madison. Really, really quick, because I want to finish up football. We are almost an hour into the show and still into football. Shawn's got to get out of here. He's got a hot date with a needle. Just kidding. Brian Brown, yes or no? Has he redeemed himself, Shawn?
Yeah, because there's one reason why. He has changed the way he did things. He doesn't do the 3 rush, 8 guys drop defense as much anymore. Still does it here and there, but it's more, he usually brings pressure now. And like Preston brought up, he brought in MJ Griffin. And MJ Griffin has been a difference maker. Ever since that guy stepped in, the defense has been night and day. And that's the coach. The coach makes that call. So.
Sorry, I'm just catching up. I guess y'all think I can host the show and answer text messages at the same time. I cannot do that. I'm checking out. I'm trying to catch up right now. Look, I'm doing the Lord's work while y'all are on here, so just calm down.
What about you, Joey? What do you think?
About what?
Is it Brian Brown?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Did he redeem himself?
Thanks for trying to. That's a co-host.
Well,
yes or no, Brian?
Okay,
good.
As you asked,
I appreciate that.
I mean, I don't think it's.
You think he's redeemed himself or not?
I don't think it's necessarily coaching. No, I mean, like my thing is he's been here how many years as well? So just all of a sudden, players start reacting to him, or now. Let me rephrase that. So in the last 4 weeks, did he maybe get behind the scenes, kind of get an ultimatum? Like you need to do something different. You need to figure something out, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe he turned his intensity up and started coaching harder or something, maybe. But I think the players got tired of it more than anything. And they've just dialed up their intensity and said, you know what? We're going to show what we're made of. And here's the thing. We've got Yaya. We've got Yasir. We've got Ben Perry, we've got Keytrell Clark. We've got Quincy Riley. We've got I can't think of the guy's name now. That
MJ Griffin.
Yeah, that are Minkins, like people that are playing hard, and probably at least 60% of those people I just named right now would either get drafted or signed. Like, I mean, they're going to be playing professional football, and they're playing like it right now.
Momo Sonogo.
It's just
a great game.
Momo's one of my favorites.
He put the no-go.
How did I not even think of
Didn't Perry?
No. Number 7.
Monty.
Didn't even say Monty.
Shout out to Matthew Dotson wants to know why do Cardinals eat cereal straight from the box? They choke whenever you mother. Apparently you don't know our football team. Hey, by the way, how's Purdue doing?
Purdue
or Vandernot. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the chat line. Walter says we definitely need to fix the red zone issues with scoring touchdowns. Rito laughed and then apologized to Brian Brown. River City said Bellarmine is coming to kill us. We'll get there in just a second. Chris says he thinks Coach Crime Dog is helping out. I don't. Matthew's on crack. Tony says out of the last 3, Kentucky is the one I want. What's up, CSZ fam? Sorry I'm late. Let's go Cards. L's up, go Cards. Yoda, I'm trying to find a time on Sundays that is good for everybody, and I just can't seem to find the sweet spot, sort of like Shawn.
Well, no, you can't find the sweet spot. He can't even find the spot.
That's very fair. I'm late. Catch me up, Jeremy. Go Cards. Look, you ain't missed a whole lot yet because we just went over the big win with Preston Brown. He gave us a good 50 minutes of his time after I asked him could he hop on for 20. So he may not ever do the show again. Yoda says we're beating Clemson.
We need Kentucky. I want Clemson.
So now let's go to the Corritos question. Hold on. Babu says, is it coincidence said he was taking on an on-hand role with defense after the Boston College game? Yes, because to my knowledge, he did not. And that's all I'll say about that. Rito wants to know what game out of the last 3 would you guys want to win the most? I think that's easy for me. It's Clemson.
Yeah, that's why I was saying
we beat Kentucky like 100 years in a row. Like that win's not special.
It'd
be good to get that win.
Yeah.
To shut them up because I mean, these are the same people that told me on week 5, we've almost got bowl eligibility, and y'all aren't even sniffing our butts.
And then we got bowl eligible.
And then we both got bowl eligible on the same day. Yeah. So
I want.
So yes, Clemson. It's a coincidence.
Yeah,
but
I want Clemson.
Which one do you want, Shawn?
Oh, it's got to be Clemson. We come so close so many freaking times.
It's like Virginia in basketball.
Like it's kind of like Shawn with Dayton. He's come close so many times. He just wants to bust through once. What?
Bust.
Yes, I know.
Through.
I'm a wordsmith. I do that on purpose.
Sounds like that squirrel that was in the Wake Forest game, like hiding under the coat. Like somebody just let the squirrel out.
Jesus.
Scott. Shawn wants to let his squirrel out.
Shawn wants to let his freak flag fly. That's what it is.
Man, if it ever happens, dude, like Shawn just gonna come in looking like a hippie one day, just be like, "What's up, man?" And he's just gonna be like free balling, just like wearing like shorty shorts, and be like,
Jesus.
Be like the guy on Friends that put his leg up there, like, "Oh my God, he's not wearing any underwear."
Roderick, I'm trying to get away from the subject as quick as possible. I think there were changes made. I'm not sure who to attribute. Like I really do. There's always a time in your life when you're in a relationship and you really want to give credit to the other person.
All right, Shawn, you're out.
And you're just like, nah, I can't do it. So I am blatantly saying that I'm biased and I'm not sure there's anything he can do. After hearing the first half of the season, what he was or was not doing, I don't know if there's anything that he can do to change my mind. And I'm sorry about that. Look, give me 5 turnovers a game in the secondary.
Here's the thing, though.
3 turnovers a game in the secondary, and we can talk.
It doesn't even matter, though. If Sat's still here, Brian Brown's still going to be here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Tony says Clemson would be the better win, but would love to shut up the Smurfs.
Absolutely.
Cody says, so should we fire him? I wouldn't fire him. Y'all know that. I've been on the
Sat or
building.
Brian Brown?
Should we fire Brian Brown? I don't know.
I think he's talking about Brian Brown because he said if he's useless, why keep him around? Should we? Probably. Will we? No. If Seth's still here, he's going to be Brian Brown's going to be here next.
The same reason Shawn's still on the show. It's a buddy system thing going on here. Well,
especially Higgy.
Yeah. Oh, Higgy.
The drive-through. I know. I was wondering.
Uncle Larry. Higgy's not with us today, giving us misspelling words because somebody drew a dick on the side of his hat. And I didn't hit. Somebody drew a on his hat in the middle of broad daylight, and he's getting security cameras installed at his home to keep the drawers away.
They drew a big penis and ball sack on the side of his house in broad daylight.
He thought it was asparagus. I don't know. Rito says Jesus Shawn on the busting thing, probably. So the card dog. I said keep the coaching staff, Roderick.
Somebody drew a dick on his house, and he said, "I forgot to hit the button."
Somebody drew a dick on his house.
Oh,
on his house. On his house.
They wrote some other words too.
Yeah.
And
yes, but we cannot repeat those words that were put on his new house that he didn't tell any of us that he had moved into.
The funniest part about it is that's why I didn't feel so bad for him, because like he hadn't told anybody that they moved from their apartment to a house. He's like, "Look, guys, look what somebody drew in my house today." We're like, "Hold on, first off, what house?"
I can't even show the picture because of the profanity.
What house? Oh, we moved in like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Look, he lived in an apartment complex in Nashville where it was on the top floor and there was like a Publix on the bottom floor.
They probably helped him move out because it's like it's too loud.
They're probably like, he keeps coming down, taking all.
We want groceries for the rest of Nashville. No, Jeremy's not going to edit anything. I think I just did say it on YouTube.
He said dick on YouTube.
And I will have to, but I was talking about Richard. Drew a big old picture of Richard Nixon on the side.
I thought you were talking about like the slang word for penis.
No.
Dick.
No, what? Oh. Okay, so now I have to.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I was talking about
YouTube.
Richard. Well, no, because they won't monetize our videos if there's too many cuss words in them.
Dick is not a cuss word.
Richard Nixon, yeah, somebody drew a big old Richard Nixon on
There's
the
a
side
difference
of the
between cuss words and slang.
Very fair. I do have to tag it though, because it's like if you put too many videos through that have curse words and you didn't indicate it, we will keep you from being a content creator on YouTube.
Well,
so, but yeah, I guess so.
Button, son of a.
I need to give all y'all's own individual.
Just let me have that one.
Ding button. Yeah, well, come sit next to me and you'll be able to hit the. Never mind. Yeah, I guess I can though, Michelle, and I'm not going to edit it out. It is what it is. It was live. This is live, pal.
We're not sure if it was Higgy's or not because we've never seen Higgy's. Michelle, she said, was it a drawing of his own or?
Oh, Jesus, Michelle. Now,
hold on. You just came from church. You just came from church, Michelle.
Look, if you saw the kind of stuff Michelle was saying on Twitter the other night about.
I see what she said.
Oh, okay.
But she went to church this morning. Like you're fresh off of it.
Look, Michelle, it was an 8 feet tall drawing, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't Higgy's. Nor am I comfortable on commenting whether it was or not.
Higgy doesn't know if it was his or not.
That was a trick question. No, Higgy's never seen his, I'm sure. Let's get back on track. Cody says, I don't know. We were a good run stopping defense at the beginning of the year. Those big plays were just ridiculous. If what Preston says is true, then I got to give Brian some credit. Yeah, I mean, I'll give him some credit, but I don't want to. I'm not ready to be like, oh, you got $1 million a year to just wake up at the end of the year and start. You know what? I don't want to speak on Brian.
I'm Baptist too.
Me too. We get it. Shawn, hey. Steven says he's watching it at Texas Roadhouse and just spit water all over the table over Higgy. I think we're getting to a different type of show now. And we may.
This is my type of show.
Listen.
I would be the MVP.
If Marcus didn't have his own midnight show, we could probably have a pretty good midnight show and draw huge ratings. Huge.
My dog.
Big Uzi ratings.
Yeet. I'm feeling Uzi today for sure.
I didn't have Higgy's blank on the list of segments for CSZ. Pal, we didn't either. We did not either.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Can I take your order? Shout out to Higgy. So he's getting that
the good burger.
He's getting that cleaned off his house today and getting cameras installed to keep away the vigilante Peter painters or what. That's gonna stop them.
The VPPs.
Yeah. So all right.
Anus painters.
Let's get the basketball, guys. 3-game stretch. Clemson on paper. And I did want to read this out to y'all really quick. Let me get that closer. Closer. Sorry. When you look at the matchup on paper, Louisville's averaging 30 points per game. They're averaging 34. We're allowing 19. They're allowing 22. We're averaging 423 yards of total offense. They are averaging 405. We are allowing 343. They're allowing 334.
It's pretty even.
It's pretty even. It looks like they pass more than they run.
Which could be a problem for them if our defensive line plays the way it has been.
And oddly enough, we pass more than we average more yards passing than rushing, which is kind of surprising.
Well,
it's really close.
It's easier to get pass yards than
220 yards passing. We average 202 yards rushing. I mean, that's a big deal.
It's still a run heavy offense.
Mm-hmm. We allow more passing yards per game.
No kidding.
But we allow 209 passing yards per game. They allow 227. We allow 133 rushing yards. They allow 107. So that's even after last night.
That sounds like we're going to get like 300 yards rushing on them then, because James Madison allowed 56 yards a game and we got like 2-something. So
we still do not have the if you all see the polls or anything while we're doing the show, let us know. The odds come out at 2:00. I'll have those for you just as soon as possible. The pressers from last night are loaded to the YouTube account and ready to just be put in a base just at any time today, Shawn. No rush. Clemson on paper, we're evenly matched. We're favored against the last two teams. Finally, our FPI index has moved up in the Kentucky game, and we are now favored to them. And we've already talked about this last point in football. So Coach Sat and your feelings on him. So Shawn, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What is our record the last 3 games?
I'm gonna go 2-1. I think which 2 can't tell you, but I think it's gonna be 2-1.
Okay. Oh, you really wussed out of that one, Joey.
I mean, I'm gonna say 3-0 because, like I said earlier, I expect to win against Clemson. If we beat Clemson, I obviously feel like we're gonna beat NC State at home with the crowd that we like. Again,
you don't think we'll be on a high for beating Clemson and underestimate? Because it feels like that's what we did in the first half of the game yesterday. Unfortunately, with NC State, we can't afford to have.
No, I don't think so.
To get started,
I don't think so. I think we'll be on a high, yes, but I think it'll just build, add to the momentum that the defense is playing with, the offense is playing with. I expect to win out. I really do. Now, with that being said, that would make us 9-3, right? We'd probably get a fairly good opponent in a bowl game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably around the Oregon State caliber, Oklahoma State caliber, somewhere right in there. I would say that one couldn't call it, couldn't tell you because I need to know who we play. But regular season, I'm saying 9-3, man. Far exceeded my expectations for the season.
So the ESPN USA Today poll. Now, Uncle Larry, what you saw was the FPI poll, something completely different. This is one of the polls they use. We did not jump into the top 25. Kentucky fell all the way to 24th. And not only did we not jump into the top 25, we are 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. We jumped to 36. We were behind Troy, Mississippi State, Kansas, Syracuse, Florida State, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Wake Forest, who's just outside of the top 25, Cincinnati, and Coastal Carolina. So we didn't get the jump we thought we would with the benefit of we didn't get the good old.
And that was in the what poll?
That was the USA Today ESPN Coaches poll. And I'm checking the AP poll right now because it normally comes.
Well, that's fun. That's weird because that was the poll that we had the most votes in.
Okay, so the AP poll has not come out just yet.
I don't really care rankings or not. I mean, just win this week. Just beat Clemson, and there's no way they can deny us.
Cody wants to know, you think Lole comes back next? I'm going 2-1. I think we lose to Clemson, but I think we lose by single digits. You think Lole comes back next year? He'd be feasting right now. I don't know, but man, shout out to Des Tell. He's been feasting. Like it's hard to even fathom somebody doing better than he's been doing so far this year. Cardinal agrees with you, Joey. 3-0. Average honky again. NC State freshman quarterback looks fairly legit. That's probably going to be a harder game than I first anticipated when their quarterback went down. I hope Lole comes back. We keep pressure on the quarterback like we did with Wake, and our offense complements the defense. We will be gold. Wes says, do you think Evans is gone after this year since Owens will be here? I don't know.
I don't. I think Evans comes back.
You think Tylen Evans comes back?
I do.
Okay.
I think he tries to work himself into a second, third round draft pick. Because you know it's a lot harder for running backs to go higher in the draft.
True.
I mean, it just is. So I think one more season featured back, especially if Stat's still here, that could help him work into for a running back a high NFL draft pick.
Q says 40-something thousand in attendance last night. That's pretty good. Yeah,
it sounded about like 80.
It sounded about, yeah. But it was cold and rainy, so that's going to keep a lot of your older people at home, and then people that are trying to not be around. Like, I don't want to get my mom sick, and then her check out, or however you want to put it. Brian says possible holiday bowl against USC UCLA loser with a 9-3 record in his opinion. So for us to be 9-3, that had to be we finished the season 3-0. Average honky again. I feel like NC State may be more difficult than UK. I do agree.
Oh yeah,
I think it's going to be Clemson, NC State, and then the Smurf turds are going to be the third. But there, I mean, again, there's a possibility we go 3-0. There's a possibility we go 0-3. These three games are going to be a lot harder than people thought.
I mean, we're going to be facing the potential number 1 draft pick, according to Mel Kiper, and those goofs the last game of the season.
I mean, 18 touchdowns and 14 interceptions is hard to do.
I mean, look, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to get a great quarterback.
They already had one of them.
Fair enough. Let's jump into basketball
Cleveland
again.
Browns.
That's the shorter of the segments.
I hope it's where he goes.
I still don't know where Sam is. Let's preview.
I do.
Let's preview Bellarmine though, Shawn. That was your job. We want to get your thoughts on the Bellarmine Knights.
Well, Bellarmine, as we all know, is a very disciplined team. They're going to run an offense where basically they almost kind of run more set plays, but they run an offense that Kenny wants to run. They're going to move the ball and get the best open shot they can, right? And Louisville's going to have to be disciplined on defense. If they get over aggressive, anxious, they're going to eat us alive on backdoor cuts and all other kinds of, get open threes and what have you. But
wide open backdoor, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Shawn. Are we talking about Bellarmine or your dating profile?
Jeez.
It's wide open.
Now, offensively, Bellarmine, I think we can do some things offensively that we didn't do even in these 2 games we played where we looked a little off. I'm hoping that we'll be able to take advantage of our size for once, because I think we're going to have the size advantage again against Bellarmine.
Take advantage of your size, Shawn.
Jeez. The only thing is, once again, it's all going to come down to discipline. This team so far, part of the reason they've had trouble in these games is they've been undisciplined at certain points. They've gotten out of what Coach Payne wants them to do.
Well, plus, Shawn, let's not forget, and I hate to cut you off, even though I love to cut you off. A lot of people didn't know before we told them Thursday. They're doing a full practice before the exhibition games. Now, I doubt that they do that before the regular season games, but you have to think that's the reason why because Sidney Curry's not like, he's not built like you. Like, he's not a little bitty old guy. So, in the bigger guys, to me anyway, in retrospect, have looked the more lethargic.
True.
It takes more out of them.
The more tired. I mean, L. Ellis has looked like a freaking MVP so far. But and I have faith that Sydney's going to get there during the season. Should we be bent all out of shape about exhibition games? No. Did we lose one?
Don't count.
Yeah. Is Kenny Payne 1-1 right now? No, he's 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not think there's anything to worry about. This, I've told y'all, as a team, I think that will start off kind of not rocky, but they'll take some punches. They'll give some punches the first half of the season. But once the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Day, rolling into New Year's Day, I know what I'm talking about. This team will start to become a way better team, and you will be able to see them gel more. They're going to do it incrementally throughout the first half of the season, but I think this team is a completely different team going into conference
when it
play.
Counts. When it really counts.
Then it will be and that's not a knock against them. Love all those guys; those are my dudes. But I think you gotta get used to playing with these kids. And
not to mention, he played a lot of players too. He played a ton of guys.
I don't think everybody on the team, man. He's not going to do that.
Well, everybody but Aiden, bless his
But
heart.
the thing you got to think about this Bellarmine game and this Bellarmine team. Last year was their first year in Division I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most everybody in the country said they deserved to be in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing a tournament team. Opening game.
Fair
it
enough.
may be Bellarmine, but we all know how Coach Davenport coaches.
Yeah.
We all know that. It's going to be a tough game.
Yep.
And folks, don't lose your if we don't win this game, don't be surprised. Don't lose your crap if we lose this game. We're playing at Freedom Hall, right?
No, I think it's Yum.
Is it Yum? Okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if they was going to kind of do a nostalgia type thing playing it.
They really
I know
should.
Bellarmine plays in Freedom Hall now. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if, like Jeremy said, we're not to where we need to be right this moment. I can guarantee you Bellarmine is. They're where they need to be because they've not went through the same changes that we have. They return a lot of the guys that they did from last year. It's one of the so Gonzaga, before they started, in the last couple of years getting McDonald's All-Americans, they didn't get those, but what they did is they had consistency. They had juniors and seniors that have been playing together for years and years, and that's why it was they look so much better. They play team basketball.
Yeah, they have a system.
Right.
So
don't be surprised. Not saying they're going to. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to put a built-in excuse going into it. I'm just saying if we lose to Bellarmine, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's a 9:00 tip at the KFC Yum Center. Got to figure out what channel. I should have looked at that while I was on the.
All right, while you're doing that, Cody. Yes, they may have lost a lot of scoring, but that's not what I'm saying. They did lose a lot of their guys. So last year they had 2 or 3 guys that were their go-to scorers. Okay, maybe those guys have left. The other guys are just stepping into those roles, and they've been trained and they've been coached to do that. Is what I'm getting at.
The women's game, we're playing Bellarmine at Freedom Hall.
Okay, I knew one of them was at Freedom Hall.
Yeah, we'll talk about Caleb Foster here in a second. We'll get to the recruiting stuff. Bebu, if you only knew what's been going on the last 8-9 months. I've told y'all on the show, but apparently I just don't want to listen to me. I think Evans comes back, but Cooley and Mitchell don't. I think Mitchell comes back. He is a great third down back. He is a just Shawn. He hammers the holes. Just very consistent.
Well, he sees the hole.
Well, he does see it,
and then he runs through the hole.
Cody says, I hope we reach out to a solid upperclassman quarterback next season just to groom Pearson to the role. I wouldn't be against that. Dwayne says, I think we'll win out. We got a chip on our shoulder. Rito says NC State's picking up at the right time. Yeah, JMO, ACC Network. Steven says ACC Network. Both of y'all answered after I said that. So that's minus 2 points for each of you. I don't know what game we're playing, but it is what it is. Yoda, it's basically this. As I told you all in April, when he did not sign, that there was a chance that we could get in with Caleb Foster. Then that picture of the recruiting board leaked, and whose name was at the top of the recruiting board, Shawn?
Mr. Foster,
who's been in Louisville like 4 times in the last 6 months for various get-togethers or kickball games or Louisville Lives or whatever it may be.
Mr. Foster.
Absolutely. So here's what I want to say to you all. If for some reason you hear that we're out of the running for A.J. Johnson, I feel like that's a pretty good indicator that we are sitting really good with Mr. Foster. I'm not making y'all any promises. I'm not saying we will sign Caleb Foster. I do think we get either Caleb Foster or A.J. Johnson, though. But this smoke, I don't think, can it be smoke 8 months later? Isn't it more of like a
at that point, the place would have burned down.
Absolutely.
It's like when you put a campfire out and it's just
smoldering. That's what I was trying to think of. Smoldering. But yeah, I do think that he is a kid that we're still talking to, and a kid that we are prioritizing. And yeah, again, if you see some movement this week where AJ's out, that probably means that he's in. If you see if he announces that he's in, that's probably what I don't want y'all to do. And we are coming up on a very long show. I did not mean this to go that long, and we're almost done. But if they announce Tuesday or Wednesday that we're out for AJ Johnson, I don't need the naysay, and I don't have a lot of the naysayers that watch the show, thank God. But if they announce this week that we're out for AJ Johnson, there's, as I've told you all along, Kenny's got a plan. Oh, we don't have any guards. Oh, well, Kenny's got his guards. It's Fabio and Hersey. Just because it's not the guard y'all wanted,
right,
doesn't mean he didn't have something planned. Those are kids that he felt really good about. Had a great relationship with Hersey's dad. Fabio meant a lot to him, and that's why they're on the team. TJ Robinson said he knows some good news, but he ain't saying.
Cool.
Look, absolutely, there is some good news basketball-wise that I can't even talk about. So it is what it is. So TJ Robinson is correct there as far as that's concerned. Carter Bryant visited this weekend. Had I don't know why, but there's people that attend these private practices and then sends me photos from them. It's like, who is this? I'm like, that's Carter Bryant. And we had already known. I actually had broke it to the CSZ recruiting chat. It become national knowledge, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I told I had found out about it Tuesday, and I told them in the recruiting chat, or maybe it was one of the other private chats. Hey, Carter will be here this weekend. So let's see. Master Yoda, yeah. I love all the emojis. It is what it is. So, and Carter Bryant, man, he looks like an absolute stud. Every time you talk recruiting, they paraphrase everything you say. That's fine. I don't let them. Like, I'm the one that gets. This is going to sound very, very bougie, and I don't care. I've known these people my whole life, their whole life. I've known Nolan since he was a little kid. Like, I'm not going to say anything that they tell me not to say. I find out things. There are times. Look, I even had Nolan ask me this week, how do you find out all this stuff? Because I asked him about Carter Bryant. He's like,
wouldn't you like to know, Lynn?
He asked. I told him. Was it Wednesday night? I told y'all what I was told that the ruling of the IARP was.
Yeah.
And I texted him. I said, hey, or I called him. I said, hey, this is what I'm being told. Oh, that sounds a little bit too light, but I'm down with it. We had people in our group chat that was like, no, we're getting a ban. I heard from a very reliable source we're getting a ban. And then there was no ban. So
they looked at Wikipedia.
I don't know what they looked at. So I'm not going to, okay, since you can't tell us, how good is this info on a scale of 1 to 10? An 11. The recruiting info absolutely is an 11 to me.
I don't even know this, folks, so it's something that's got to be really good.
Okay, how about you ask it a different way, Yoda? On a star ranking from 0 stars to 5 stars, this is a 5-star information. Wink, wink. Sam was supposed to be here to preview the season women's basketball tip-off and the season. He's not here today. Hopefully we can have him in here on Thursday. It's going to be past the first game of the season, but he's not here. He said he'd be here at noon. It is 1:30 and he's not arrived yet. But we'll get him, even if it's a separate, even if I sat down with him later and we put out just a video with Sam, maybe we could do that to make up for that. Rapid fire number 5 volleyball beat NC State in the sweep. in sweep. I'm sorry. Forgot Higgy sends these. Fawcett, North Carolina at 1 p.m. today before going on the road to Georgia Tech Friday and North Carolina again next Sunday. Men's tennis, Fabian Saleh and Nathan Rodriguez fell in the ITA championship 6-4 6-4. Don't forget, get your lower bowl tickets for Bellarmine opener Wednesday. They're $21 in honor of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. KP. And as I said, the women's basketball opener is Monday at 5 p.m. versus Cincinnati. Got a great season in store for us with women's basketball. Is Isaiah Miranda still looking good? Yeah. Yoda smiling and CSZ I trust. Look, I ain't asking you to trust me. I'm just telling you what I'm told. Is it always right? No. But I don't listen to people that I don't trust. I'm actually hyped for the women's game. Honestly, a whole lot of new faces. Absolutely. Hold up. The volleyball game is over. Look, I'm just going by what Higgy said. So, 1 p.m. today. No, I don't think it's over. What time is it?
It's 1:27.
Yeah, it shouldn't be over with. Well, I said at 1 p.m. today, didn't I? Before going on the road to Georgia Tech Friday in North Carolina again next Sunday. Yeah. Look, I want to blame Higgy myself. I thought he messed up. Women's basketball preview. We are good. See, hire me with that info. Absolutely, Babu. Oh, I'm asking. It started at 1. No, it's not over with yet. It just started at 1. Rito, you know I'm ready for the women. So Shawn's been ready for the women for about 40 something years. There you go. Rito said, yes, you are, but Shawn isn't.
God dang. Hire Rito for the show.
I think we need to. Chris says, he's watching the volleyball game. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the cold close as always. Y'all get y'all's last questions in here real quick. As always, check out all the magnificent photo galleries at cardinalsportzone.com. JK shot his first football game yesterday. Hopefully those pictures turn out really well. Jeff was not able to make it. TJ was not able to make it. So, look, our third stringer is better than most people's first stringer. So I'm good. I'm good with that. Shout out to all of our fine sponsors, Fitness Market, Shack in the Back, 4 Pegs, Derby City Lawn and Landscaping, and we're working on more. If you'd like to sponsor the website or the podcast or both, hit me up at Jeremy_CSZ on Twitter.
Where they go to 22 in volleyball, or is it 21?
25.
25.
Okay, we're down 21-17 in set 1.
Okay,
North Carolina. Sorry, just update.
Where was I at?
Derby City Lawn and Landscaping.
If you want to sponsor the podcast or the website, hit me up at Jeremy_CSZ. Or if you don't have Twitter and you need to get in touch with me a different way, just let us know in the chat room. We'll take care of you. On social media, you can find out below Joey's humongous head in the football field how to follow us on all the social media avenues. As far as finding the podcast, you can find us on all the podcast avenues: Apple, iTunes, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google, Amazon, and iHeart. Hit subscribe or follow or listen now. Actually, if you go to the Cardinal Sports Zone or my Twitter, it's what's it called? Oh, it's pinned to the top. So now all you have to do is go to our Twitter, click the play button. It gives you a whole list of them from iTunes. If you haven't listened to all the prior episodes of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, then go back, check them all out. Go to cardinalsportszone.com, the place it all begin. Hit that drop-down menu for podcasts. Hit CSZ Podcast. Check out our exclusives there as well. Shout out to everybody out there sharing the podcast. We appreciate and love y'all. Shout out to our guys, Marcus Maben and Steve Rummage, doing the Lord's work on ESPN 93.9 The Ville from Monday through Friday from 10 to noon when Steve is not out of town. Any last words for you, Shawn? And then I'm going to go finish up the chat line.
Well, let's just go beat Clemson, and let's win that first game against Bellarmine. I think we can do it. I think we're going to run a sweep next week.
All right, I think we're going to lose to Bellarmine.
Still,
Joey. Any last words?
As usual, the University of Maryland is trash. Help control the pet population. Get your pet spayed or neutered. Help Shawn get a date. Let's beat Clemson. Let's beat Bellarmine.
Beat Cincinnati.
Beat everybody we're playing this week. Let's just beat everybody.
Let's beat everybody like Shawn. Never mind. Yoda's laughing. I said something funny. Dwayne Cross says it's AJ and Miranda come together. If AJ is our top target, he comes with a Miranda. If he's not our top target, the guy I was talking about will be here with Miranda. I feel pretty confident about that. Don't put this in. Jeremy said this. I'm saying I feel good about it. Chris thinks I'm going to watch it. If we're not the best team in Louisville, ouch. I just don't. I feel like we're going to have trouble with a team that plays like a team.
One that's the same way Everett Sullivan's team. I can't
pronounce Lenore
Ryan. They are a team. They play team basketball. They work the ball in and out like Kenny wants to. Like we talked about, and they got good shots. They had a big man that could shoot, and we didn't get out on him. But we just dropped the first set to North Carolina, by the way.
That's fine. We'll be Shawn. All I can see is your nose and your horrible hairline. Play that outro. Look, I missed. You didn't tell me last week, so I just sat around.
Play that fire outro.
Brian, appreciate you guys as usual. Q says go Cards. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the follow button. Hit the stalk button. Hit the PayPal button. Hit the Venmo button. Hit the Cash App button. As Shawn says, hit the dang button.
Just don't say the D word on YouTube too many times, or Johnny has to tag it.
I do want to apologize for saying the slang word for wiener.
Wiener.
Again, we'll get Boo Brewer and Peyton Sieben in here after the season starts. Peyton got a job in another country. He's 14 hours ahead of us. We'll figure out something. Thanks again for the support, you guys. We love y'all. And until next time, this has been the Cardinal Sports Zone Podcast. Bonus show with Sam. Yeah, we'll get Sam's thoughts, and maybe Shawn will jump on there too, virtually, because that's the only way that he doesn't echo. Later, y'all. We out. Literally, Shawn's leaving right in the middle of the outro. Don't forget, if y'all have any ideas or themes or anything for episode, we are here to listen. We got y'all. See y'all later. Yeet. Shawn checked all the way. Shawn's gone.
Shawn
that might be why he can't get a girl. He's a premature.
A premature